There's a documentary about the abuse of women and their children. Thinking we could talk about it.
Did you ever feel scared?
When did you and Dad start to fight?
I won't take any guff from anybody. This is the day I break the chain.
Y bien, después de 15 años, estoy de regreso en la casa de mis padres, pero ahora con mis 3 hijos. Y el sueño más grande mío es poder sacar a mis hijos adelante, darles el espacio que ellos se merecen. Pero por ahora, estamos aquí, en este pequeño cuarto, mis 3 hijos y yo. When I met Angel, I was 14. When I turned 15, he came to my house to ask for permission to be with me, and my mom said a definite no. After I turned 16 and I decided to marry him, I wanted to be with him for a lot of different reasons. As to start, it was, I thought I was expected to marry him because I was intimate with him before, right? So in our culture, it just doesn't seem right to be with somebody and then end a relationship or something. It's something to last and forever to keep, right?
Has Daddy ever hit you in the stomach when you were pregnant?
Why do you want to know that?
How did you feel?
Why do you want to know that?
Because...
How did I feel? I felt hurt and angry. And I felt double guilt because I was allowing him to hurt me and I was allowing him to injure my pregnancy. If I ever did say, you know, I'm pregnant, like, you know, just please, right? It's like, well, what do I care? That baby is probably not even mine, you know? And it was like this, like, not only with my first son, it was like this with throughout my 3 other pregnancies.
Did you ever feel scared?
It was something that was uncertain. You didn't know. I didn't know when we would have problems. It was very often, so it really didn't give me a chance to miss it. But yeah, it was scary sometimes. If I did have a thing that I thought or I considered he would think it's wrong, I knew what was happening to me. I knew what was gonna happen, and I was always threatened. I always thought or felt that I had to do what he told me or else I would get hit.
Did you ever think that he would, like, think of killing you? What did you do?
What did I do or what did he do?
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I always stayed thinking that I didn't believe he would, but I was taken to the hospital 2 times, so it's really dumb. Sometimes you know that the threat is there, but you don't listen to it. Okay, baby, you wanna stop it now? Just
Okay.
think of more things to talk about and we'll do it after. Yeah?
Okay.
Everybody, we're in the car because we couldn't do it inside yesterday. But the funny thing is, what I was gonna tell you is that your dad would be nice to in front of everybody. Most of the times, he was always happy, smiling. Like, maybe it's hard for them to picture him hitting me, but they know because a lot of the times they saw bruises, and they know that I went to the hospital 2 times. So it's not like they're ignorant to all this, but maybe they just didn't want to believe it, and they wanted to, you know, blame me for a lot of things. On September 28th, 2002, that's the last incident, and that was after we got back together. That was the first time he touched me. He hit me. And I couldn't take it. And he forced me out of the apartment. My son was sleeping in the bedroom. And he wouldn't let me back in. And my cousins were inside. They were, obviously very scared. They had never seen things like this, right? So then one of my cousins said to him to relax, to calm down. Nothing was happening, So he kicked them out of the apartment as well. So all 5 of us are outside, and he wouldn't let me come back in the apartment. I just begged him to let me go in to get my son. And I kept on putting my leg to not let him fully close the door, because we lived on the 8th floor. I figured he's too angry. He could do anything to the baby, right? Things just came to my mind. And that's what I kept on asking him, just let me get the baby outside. Just let me take him. And he wouldn't. So one of the neighbors said to me, are you okay? Do you want to use my phone to call the police? And I was just in the hallway by the elevators of the building, and I saw him coming out with my son in his arms. My son was sleeping. So I said to him, I already called the police. They are on their way now. If you want to leave, leave. But you're not taking my son. If you're going to kill me for this, I don't care. And when I mentioned to him that I had called the police, I figured he, relaxed himself a little bit. And yes, he did give me my son. From the time that I knew he was out, and that I had called the police, I knew he wouldn't be back. I knew it, and I felt relief.
This is the case of Xiomara Enriquez. She was the victim of a domestic assault, and she phoned the police back in 2002 to complain about an assault that her husband happened at the apartment. As a result of that complaint, the police were notified, and her husband was arrested and charged with an assault and sent to court to be dealt with. While he was on release with different conditions to abstain from her, he continued to phone and harass her and threaten her. And Xiomara came and phoned and contacted myself, and as a result of further complaints by her, he was also rearrested and charged with several other offenses pertaining to threatening her and failing to comply with his bail conditions, and held in custody until he was eventually dealt with in court. And when it did go to court, he pled not guilty to the offenses, and there was a trial where Xiomara had to give evidence, and at the end of that trial it was deemed that he was guilty by the presiding justice.
Everybody, this is the person doing my interview. This is one of my prides.
It's not even on.
Are you sure? I'm scared that he's going to take them to El Salvador. There's one thing that he kept on saying to me, maybe to scare me off and to make me scared and go back with him. And he kept on telling me that he was going to take my kids and bring them to his mother in El Salvador. How do you feel about mommy and daddy separating?
Well, I kind of feel good because she's happy. Then at the same time, I miss my dad because we don't really see him because he says that he's always really busy and stuff.
The only thing that hurts me is my kids. I find that I would do anything for them. And if sometimes I feel like going back to him, when I see them, they miss him. And he doesn't come and see them. And sometimes they feel guilty for it. And then I feel guilty because, So when I tell you, I wanted them to grow up with him because he was a good dad. I'm not going to say he never abused them, no, nothing. He was a good father. So I thought maybe I should have taken it for them. Maybe I should have just stayed and they wouldn't have to go through this. What is your message to these kids? What can you tell them?
Tell their parents if they could stop fighting. And if the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day the dad keeps on hurting the mom, ask the mom to separate and to not be scared. And if you're still little, like, just, like, I don't know, you can't do anything. But if you're big, you can. But then if you try to get them together again, you just wasted your time telling your mom to get separated.
ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਮੈਰਿਜ ਬੇਸ ਤੇ ਆਈ ਸੀ। ਛੋਟੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ 14-15 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੰਗਣੇ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਪੂਰਾ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ।
Mom, I have some questions for you regarding your marriage because of all the abuse you were getting from my dad. Can you tell me a little bit about how you met Dad?
Oh, gorgeous. Why are you asking me all these tough questions? ਬੇਟੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਡੈਡੀ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੰਮੀ ਡੈਡੀ ਨੇ ਮਿਲਾਇਆ ਸੀ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡੈਡੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮਿਲ ਲਓ ਅਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ, ਤਾਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਨੇ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਉੱਦਾਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ। ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਡਾਇਟੀਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ PhD ਵੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਸੇਮ ਟਾਈਮ 'ਤੇ। ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਏਅਰਪੋਰਟ 'ਤੇ ਆਏ ਇਹ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤਾਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਲੜਕਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਣਾ।
When did you and Dad start to fight?
ਲੜਾਈ ਤਾਂ ਪੁੱਤ ਸਾਡੀ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਉਸੇ ਹੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਰਾਤ ਜੀ ਹੋਈ ਤਾਂ ਬੇਸਮੈਂਟ 'ਚ ਥੱਲੇ ਗਏ, ਉਹ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੰਨਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਵੀ ਗੂੰਜਦੀ ਹੈ। ਮੇਰੀ ਸੱਸ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਦਾਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਆਪਣੀ ਇੱਜ਼ਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ। ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਹਜੇ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਿਗੜਿਆ। ਉੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਰੋਡ ਪਈ ਸੀ, ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਾਵਰ ਕਰਟਨ ਦੀ ਰੋਡ ਸੀ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕਹਿ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਬੀਬੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਦੀਆਂ ਲੱਤਾਂ ਤੋੜ ਦੇ।
If you were still fighting with Dad before marriage, then why would you marry him?
ਬੇਟੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੰਮੀ ਡੈਡੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੋਇਸ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ, ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ। ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਹੋਏ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕੋਈ ਚੋਇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਉਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਨੌਕਰ ਆ ਇਸ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੀ ਹਾਂ। ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਬਿਮਾਰ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੀ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਦੀ ਅਪੁਆਇੰਟਮੈਂਟ 'ਤੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਜਾਣਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੈ, ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਬੋਲਣੀ। ਜੇ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਇੱਛਾ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਆਪਣਾ ਮਾਰ ਕੁਟਾਈ 'ਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਉੱਤਰ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਸੀ ਛੇਤੀ।
Did grudges from me get hurt?
Oh, sure. Many times, John. Many times. ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਡਿਸਿਪਲਿਨ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ। ਸ਼ਾਨ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਬੇਟਾ, ਉਹ ਉਹੀ ਕੁਛ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ ਜੋ ਉਹ ਵੱਡਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦੇ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਸੀ। ਉਹਦੇ ਮਾਰ ਕੁੱਟ ਵੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ, ਸ਼ਰਾਰਤੀ ਸੀਗਾ। ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਾਰਨਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਤਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੇ। ਉਹ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਮੰਮੀ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਮਾਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕਿੱਥੇ ਮਾਰ ਰਿਹਾ।
Did Dad ever try to get help?
ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਲਪ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਦੱਸੋ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਕੌਨਸੈਪਟ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਾ ਵੀ। ਉਹ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਹੀ ਠੀਕ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਮਾਈ ਆਨਸਰ ਟੂ ਯੂ ਇਜ਼ ਹੀ ਨੈਵਰ ਟਰਾਈਡ। ਮੈਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰੋ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਹਾਂ, ਪਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਨਾ ਝਿੜਕੋ ਜਾਂ ਮਾਰੋ। ਤਾਂ ਪਰ ਉਹਨੇ ਉਹੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੰਗਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ। ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਇਹ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਬੁਲਾ ਲਿਆ ਵੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕੁ ਉਹਦੇ ਯੋਗ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਤਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਮੈਂਬਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਚਪੇੜ ਮਾਰੀ, ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਮੁਸ਼ਕਲ ਸੀ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਯਾਦ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੇਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਬ੍ਰੈਸਟ ਫੀਡ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਬੇਟਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੋਲ ਖੜਾ ਸੀ। ਉਹਨੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਚਪੇੜ ਮਾਰੀ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਕੰਬਲ ਉੱਪਰ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਬੱਚੀ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਵੇ ਕਿਤੇ। ਅਗਲੀ ਸਵੇਰ ਉਹਦੀ ਰੂਟੀਨ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਕੰਮ 'ਤੇ ਜਾਣ ਲਈ ਚਾਹ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ, ਲੰਚ ਪੈਕ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਹਦੇ ਕੰਮ 'ਤੇ ਜਾਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੱਕਿਆ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਹੈਲਥ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਦੇ ਦਫ਼ਤਰ ਚਲੀ ਗਈ।
When we moved from the shelter to the apartment, now to our brand new home, what challenges did you face raising me and Gurjis?
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੋਨੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡੇ ਕੇਅਰ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ, ਸਕੂਲ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਕੰਮ 'ਤੇ ਚਲੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਹਾਰਡ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੀਗਾ, ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਵੀ ਹਾਰਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਲੰਘਦਾ ਗਿਆ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਦੀ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਸੋਚਦੇ। ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਚਲੇ ਜਾਈਏ, ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਮਨੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਸਰਵਾਈਵ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸੋ ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਪੌਪਸੀਕਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਗਦੇ। ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਹੈਲਥ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਤੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ ਸੀ, ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਲਦੇਵ ਮੁੱਟਾ, ਉਹ ਫਰੀਕੁਐਂਟ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਲੰਟੀਅਰਸ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਸੀ। ਈਵਨ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਖਾਣਾ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਲਿਆ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ। ਬਹੁਤ ਵਾਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵਾਈਫ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਲਾਂਡਰੀ ਦੇ ਦੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। My counselor is like a family to me. Like we are family now. So it's not that I just receive formal help, which was required to complete this paperwork, that paperwork, but on top to deal with the loneliness and day-to-day operations, like it's a lot is required.
Not everyone has that.
No.
One of the things what I find interesting is, you see, often within the mainstream community, the whole issue of wife abuse is looked from purely as if this is a cultural phenomenon, as if in diverse cultures this is the norm, that this is what is happening to abused women in their culture. So somehow in South Asian culture, in black culture, in Hispanic culture, what these men do to these women. And I look at from a totally different point of view. These are in all cultures, in all religions, in all socio-economic strata, whether someone is well educated, someone is not well educated. There are individuals that through their learned behavior have decided to behave towards another human being in a particular fashion. So how in different cultures is violence against women taken care of, whether they are in villages or whether they are? And my take on it was that there is much more family support. There is much more support from the brothers, from the relatives, from the even neighborhood, even within the neighbors, yes. Because everybody makes sure that it is everybody's business.
Dad, like is the chicken done?
Yeah.
If it's burning, I'm not gonna eat it. You need to.
So but one of the things which then becomes an issue is how do police expect our women to call 911?
From my experience, I can speak purely from my experience. I never called. I've been through a lot of difficult time in my life, but not even for a single minute I think that calling 911 is an option for me.
Most of the women, and now that immigrant women are saying is that we would like the abuse to end and not the marriage to end. So perhaps they are scared that if the police arrest my husband, there is no chance in hell for us to then get back together.
I have to be careful in how I say this, but it's nice to have a zero tolerance policy, but as a result of that zero tolerance policy, the police lay several charges that are very minor in nature, where maybe the outcome could be decided rather than having to go to court and spend thousands of dollars on lawyers' fees and court time. In the old days, and I'm talking back several years ago before we became the zero tolerance policy, people could phone and complain about a domestic assault, and the police would come and speak to you and take a statement from you. But I would ask you at that time, what would you like to do about this assault? And you could tell me that you just want him cautioned with regards to what had taken place. And we would do an occurrence that the fact that he was cautioned, and because you want to keep the family together. And we would put that on file. But if there was a second call, there wouldn't be a caution. We would automatically charge because there had already been a prior caution. And in some sense, I would like to go back to that personally, because a lot of times we lay some charges that shouldn't be before the courts. And it's an inconvenience to the family where the victim is telling you right off the bat they don't want to go to court. They don't want to be split up from their husband. And maybe a little bit because of that, maybe people are reluctant to call us because they know that the family is going to be divided, because we automatically ask for conditions for the male to be taken out of the household or the female to be taken out of the household, that they don't have any contact between each other. And maybe the courts will change that, but it's a big process. And I would like to see that this police have maybe a little bit more discretion as far as that goes.
So how can, from an immigrant woman's experience, can the police intervention or judicial system help an immigrant woman?
I think system can provide some more like community-based, like culturally appropriate service.
When someone is arrested and charged, there would be a radio call and the police would come and speak to the victim. And depending on the situation, maybe the victim would like to leave the house, and we would try and find alternative housing for them, being a family member, or if they don't have one, we refer different people to shelters. We would drive them to the shelters. There's different shelters throughout the city, and the shelter would then house them. But in the court process, there's a victim witness section up at the courthouse that we deal with. In fact, I believe there's one in every courthouse in the city, where they track the different cases as far as the victims, and they speak to the different victims and ask them if they need help in various things, one of them being the court preparation, and where they bring them up, they interview them, and they find out what their needs are, and then they try and help them as maybe counseling, social assistance, try and find some housing, if that's not done through the shelter, to try and get them back on their own 2 feet.
Like that I went to high school with, that you've known since like kindergarten. They want their wives to stay at home, cook and clean, all that kind of stuff. I think they have sometimes some of a worse mentality than people who are born elsewhere. Or they want to go to India because they know they can take advantage of their wives. Okay. So they're like, oh, women over here, they'll just dial 911, but they want to go to India, those women won't say anything, so.
Okay. When your separation with dad, were you ever feeling like lonely?
हाँ गुरजिस, पर क्योंकि लोनली ਤਾਂ ਫੀਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਲੋਨਲੀ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਮ ਤੋਂ ਆਣ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਪਰ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਿ ਤੇਰੇ ਤੇ ਸ਼ਾਨ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਬਿਜ਼ੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਆ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ, ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੋਨਲੀਨੈਸ ਆ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ.
As a single mother, you came so far Me and Sean are very happy, proud of you. I'm sure you're proud of yourself as well.
Thank you, gorgeous. I feel same way. I'm very proud of both of you and proud of myself.
Ramayana is an epic play based on Lord Rama's life, which we play every year in Hindu Sabha temple. I direct it and also I act in it. Today I'm going to play the role of Ravan, who was a demon king. Ravan made one mistake, and one mistake, just one mistake, was the end of his life. So it's very crucial, we don't just think it's one mistake. We have to think the consequences of the mistake.
खामोश सीते, बुला दे राम का चिंतन, कर दिल स्वीकार रावण का, खड़ा है रथ तुम्हारे वास्ते तैयार रावण का.
There's a documentary about the abuse of women and their children. And since you, me, and Mom have all been through it, I was thinking we could talk about it.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, why did you regret the situation? Like, why do you regret hitting your wife and everything?
Well, first of all, I never hit her.
Or sorry, pushed her.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you regret it because you love her, or why do you regret it?
No, I do love her. I still love her.
But can I say something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sometimes she feels that you don't, and she cries because she thinks you, at the time, you couldn't express anything, and
Because
me and
at
her,
that
we didn't
time,
realize it.
At that time, I was not myself. Try to understand this thing. What happened in 1998? I had a car accident, a really bad one. I had a very good job. Life was going in very good direction. We were all happy. That accident, I hurt myself really bad. Today, when I think about that, I thank to the God that I'm still alive and walking. I broke my leg, I broke my arm, all my ribs. I had a head injury. I had all kind of injuries you can talk about. And on top of that, I had a financial injury. We had to sell our house because of this. You know about that.
You had a spinal injury, and the doctor said it was a miracle that you are not in a wheelchair.
Yeah. I just isolated myself so much. At that stage, it was only me and my bottle.
And in your journey of depression, as I may call it, was there anybody to help you? And if so, how? And if not, why do you think
at that time, nobody helped me.
Did anybody try and help you?
Yeah, I think for sure you guys tried it.
We did, we really did.
But it was not good enough help for me.
But what I don't understand is if we couldn't give you the proper help, then why don't you just ask us if there's things we could do for you? Because we were trying to be as supportive as we could, and there was a point where we couldn't take it either.
Are you scared of me?
I was.
When?
When at the time when you were going through the depression, and the only thing that seemed to help you was alcohol, and what I'm about to say is scary.
I'm talking about right now.
Oh, I'm not scared of you now. I'm talking about in the past.
At that time,
that I didn't get to mention.
Honey, listen. At that time, I was scared of myself.
But honestly, it's like the guy, when he turns to the Hulk, it's scary and everybody's scared of the Hulk. And then when he finally turns back, everybody's thankful.
My wife, my daughter, they used to ask me any simple question. Would you like to eat something? Would you like to drink something? Just leave me alone. Whole day, I'm just lying on the bed, maybe watching TV for a couple of minutes, reading for a couple of minutes, then again going back to my negative thoughts. I tried to commit suicide.
I actually know about that.
And it didn't happen just once. I tried it 2 times
Yes.
because I was so depressed.
Once with sleeping pills, and the other time I do not know.
Both times, not with sleeping pills.
Yeah, it was with pills.
Antidepressant.
Yeah, you tried to put all of them in your mouth, and
Yeah.
I grabbed them out of your mouth because I didn't want that.
So
I did it for you the best of you, and you bit my finger that day. That hurt. Ouch. Sorry.
So one day arguments became so severe, like I said, you know what, hell with it. I just want to leave the house. I wanted to go out and my wife wouldn't let me go out. So I pushed her. So later I heard a knock on the door, but I didn't get up. There was second knock, I didn't bother. Third knock, so eventually I went to check the door and there were cops. They told me that my wife pressed charges against me for assault. So I told them, assault? What do you mean by assault? I pushed her. They told me in Canadian law, this is assault.
When the uniformed officer comes to the scene, he's obligated to do something, be it good. Sometimes it's bad, you know. And when you say what is bad, is it bad when I'm going to be putting your husband, if you phone me and complain about your husband, is it bad that I'm putting handcuffs on him now and walking him out to the car, and if he wants to resist, and now I'm in a fight with him, and I've got you on my back trying to fight with me too, and my partner's trying to pull you off? I guess that's bad, right? But at the same time, domestic violence is not tolerated and not acceptable in this country.
When we did put you in jail, we just needed time away from you. See, we didn't want you to go in jail. No.
The prison is here.
Sorry about the interruption, everybody. We didn't want to hurt you. We just wanted some time alone. But when he told us that you were supposed to be in jail for 11 days, we didn't want it. We tried to negotiate. We tried to negotiate really hardly, trust me. When I found out that you got handcuffed, I was really hurt because you're not a criminal and you're not a bad man. But when alcohol goes through you, not only you, everybody, it's venom.
Yeah, I didn't get it until I met the person.
That Bill Dave uncle really did brought the good side back in my dad.
The main thing I learned from him is I have to accept what I did. I can't deny it. I should not deny it. It's not I can't. I can. It's easy to deny anything, but I should not. We came abroad, but we still tend to focus on this thing. You know what? I'm the breadwinner and she's the homemaker. But on the contrary, she's also a part of bread winning. People forget that. And when there is a clash of ego, things will start to fall apart. And that's what's happening. Why men get physical is either my way or my way. If I don't get my way, I get angry. I'm not just talking about myself, I'm talking about common man's perspective. If I don't get my way, so I get mad. When I get mad, I lose my control. When I lose my control, there is a violence. And in whole this episode, who is suffering most? Kids. They see, they do.
One last thing to say.
What whatever I talk today is from the bottom of my heart. Very emotional right now. I don't want to say too much. All I want to say, east or west, family is the best.
Aww, that's very sweet. Thank you for all your time.
And I love my daughter. Shall I sing?
No.
Come on,
That's
you love
rap.
it. You
No.
love it. Tanana aya hu,
Okay, I'm turning it
tanana
off.
utana.
I'm turning it off. I do feel good having mom and dad home. It's better. And I learned that I can't always rely on my parents. I have to be a little more independent.
I
was probably about 8 years old when I saw my father hit my mother. It was a very sad time for me because I was a very young girl and I loved my father, but I didn't understand why he was so abusive to my mother, because my mother loved him. But the very sad reality is I always said that I would never be like my mom, and I followed in her footsteps because I married an abusive husband as well. My husband didn't hit me, but psychologically he was very abusive, and I felt it in my heart. Every day I was so frightened of him, and I didn't understand why, because I loved him, and I thought he loved me. But the very sad part of it is that I not only took myself through the abuse, but my children witnessed it as well. Angela was only 13 years old when my husband was abusive to her.
And I'm Angela in the background. I am the daughter of Janet. Mom, pretty much what I would like to say to you is that I love you very much. And I don't blame you for anything that's happened. And it hurts me when you blame yourself for everything that's happened to us.
He made her life so miserable and so hard to be a real teenager. And she loved him as a stepfather, and she didn't understand why he was so unkind to her.
Like, didn't you notice, my whole attitude, my whole everything was starting to change, and that was also almost like a cry for help because, I couldn't understand for the life of me what I did wrong. Did you see those signals at all, or?
Yeah, I did.
And how come you didn't help me?
Angela and I became almost distant with each other because she was so frightened of and she felt that I was not protecting her enough from him. And on one particular night, she yelled and screamed at me and pushed me, and I told my husband. I made the mistake of telling him. And he went into her bedroom and he started choking her. And I remember her screaming out, saying, "Mommy, why can't you come to help me?" And I didn't go to help her. And the next thing I realized is that I had taken her to the school the next day to see the counselor to see if he could help us. And the police and the children's aid were there. It was just a nightmare for us.
I remember a long time ago when you said to me, "Do you love me, Mom?" And I said yes. And you said, "Well, if you love me, then why don't you leave him? Because he's so mean to me, and I don't understand." And I said, "It's okay, Angela, he doesn't mean what he says." I said, "Just ignore him."
But eventually, Angela couldn't stay there because the children's aid worker asked me, and I told her the truth. And she said she can't live here anymore. She has to go into care. And I remember my husband saying to me, "If you bring her back here, if you bring her back to this house, my house, I'm going to hurt her again."
So pretty much you were defending him then? Making excuses?
Yeah. Angela went to live in foster care for 1.5 years.
And I was the mother, and I was responsible for you, and I failed you as a mother. And then when you had to go away and live with other people, that just broke me.
The very sad part about it is that my husband only spent 2 days in jail for the criminal acts that he had against me. He uttered death threats. He harassed me. He stalked me. And anytime that I went to the police, they would just discount it.
All I can tell you is, you know what, we have 8,000 members on the force. Um, you're going to get policemen that you're going to get a lot of them that are good. Maybe you get the odd one that's maybe not so sensitive. You know, and that's one of the reasons that they send them on these courses, to try and make them sensitive and try and understand. I think if you ask anyone that applies to join the police force, they all join the police force because they want to make a difference. It's not just the excitement, because every day can be different, and that's one of the things about it. But, you know, at the same time, we have a job to do, and people meet us when they don't want to meet us sometimes. It's not always in the coffee shop having a coffee together. Unfortunately, in domestics, you're meeting people when they're at their peak.
You see, sometimes we're not believed by police or children's aid workers or social workers or counselors. Why not? I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why they don't validate our stories, because I have no reason to embellish this story. The story was real, it was painful. Every time I went to a judge and I got a peace bond or an undertaking against my husband, it was because I believed that the system could help me and my children. But it failed me. I feel quite differently now. I feel so different. I've been given another chance at motherhood. And my children aren't angry with me anymore. In fact, they're happy to see me, that I'm alive and I'm growing and I'm going to a different place, which is much better than they see me 8 years ago. I believe that they're proud of me now.
More than the greatest love the world has known, this is a love I give to you alone.
I know you're trying to get better, you know, you're becoming more strong, but you still let a lot of things eat you up, and you know that makes it really hard on me because I don't like seeing you like this. You're trying to help other people and be strong about it, but it's almost like, to me personally, you make a scene out of it. You're almost pretending when you're behind closed doors. I'll call you and you'll be saying, I'm suffering from high anxiety, I'm in bed, I'm tired, I can't do anything, I can't talk to you right now, I'm really sad today. And that happens quite a bit.
It's because of my depression. It's not something that will go away. It might be something that I have to live with for the rest of my life. But I tried to hide it from you. But there are some times that I can't. And I hate the way I am. Like I said to my doctor once, I said to her, will I ever be normal again? And I begged her and I said, there's so many times that my daughter has seen me, so suicidal. And I hate being like this because I know my own mother was suicidal. And I just feel absolutely crazy sometimes. And I know was long gone out of my life, but it's all the damage that he's done. I can't seem to forget it. And I said to her, will you help me? And she said, I will. I said, no, but I need something else other than antidepressants. I need to have shock treatments.
I think I'm having a really hard time, trying to figure out what to ask you, because, this is something that I've just kind of put behind me. I won't take any guff from anybody. And this is the day I break the chain. You will never, see me take crap from anybody.